Hi guys, hope you had a good weekend. Hope you were able to kind of get out and enjoy the weather. I know it's a little windy, but hopefully you can kind of get out and get some exercise. I know that has helped my family a tremendous amount during this time to be able to just get out and get some fresh air. So hopefully you guys were able to do that. This week we are ready to move forward with our discussions. So we talked about kind of the last vestiges of mock trial stuff. We are finished essentially with the judiciary. That was going to be the rest of our judiciary unit. Um, what we're going to talk about next, guys, is law enforcement and corrections. So this ties in obviously closely with the judiciary, but it's obviously technically not. Most of that falls under all that falls under the executive branch, right? But that's what we are going to look at now since we have the extra time to look at it. And so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about law enforcement, about uh, police officers, the police in the United States. And so, first of all, guys, unlike a lot of other countries around the world, we do not have a nationwide police force. Instead, you have thousands and thousands of independent law enforcement um, entities. Okay, and so a big reason for the difference in that is where you have a bunch of countries, especially European countries, that have a nationwide uh, law enforcement is, and we don't, is one, guys, think about geography. Okay, so the United States is the third largest country um, in size, and so it obviously has a wide range of areas, and so that means that we are typically very diverse. And so you have all these small little um, law enforcement entities serving these different areas because they're very diverse. They have very different needs, and so they help fulfill those different needs that we have and different issues. And so that's a big part of that is just our diversity and our size as far as our geography. Now, as far as the police themselves, guys, a lot of people they think about a police officer's main duty of fighting crime, and that's a big important part of it. But um, we also have to understand that they do a lot of other things outside of just fighting crime. Okay, and so one of the things that they do is they help settle disputes. So, for example, a dispute between a husband and wife, locked them out of the house, something like that. Um, Nothing where there's been, domestic violence. Obviously, that would be fighting crime, dealing with that. But just a disagreement that kind of spills out into the streets or something of that nature. Okay. They also, guys, do a lot of social work. Okay. So police officers, they have to um, come and make sure that especially kids in the homes are safe and things like that. They are involved with that. So they work very closely with social workers, and that goes kind of hand in hand. You also have to control traffic. So you have to make sure that people are following the traffic laws and that people are stopping at stop signs, doing all these different things, not speeding. So that's a big part of it. And then also, guys, medical emergencies. So police officers are expected to um, be able to show up on a scene and assist in first aid situations and things like that as well. Okay, so they have a lot on their plate. They do a lot besides just fighting crime. Now, two of the major responsibilities of a police officer, guys, would be that patrol responsibility. Okay, and when they're on patrol, obviously they are looking to catch suspected criminals. You know, calls put out, hey, this happened. They go answer the call, try and stop a person from committing a crime. You know, if they're in the middle of a crime or whatever. So that is part of it. But you also have kind of order maintenance, keeping order on the streets, guys. So studies have shown that just the presence of uh, officers out on patrol can stop crimes, can reduce crime. Okay, just having that presence. You also might have, you know, as far as order maintenance, a car accident. Okay, so the police obviously have to respond to that and go kind of seal off the accident, go through kind of, okay, what happened? It was someone criminally negligent for the accident, so on and so forth. Um, uh, all those things, making sure that traffic doesn't cause problems with traffic and things like that. And then also, guys, service. So, like I talked about a little bit earlier, as far as you know, the medical emergencies and things like that. So, providing first aid. They might even have to transport someone to the hospital. It's a life or death situation. Can't wait for the ambulance. They have to uh, hurry someone to the hospital, maybe. So those are all functions while they're on patrol. Those responsibilities. And another big responsibility, guys, is investigations, running investigations. And so usually, um, you know, a police officer, they are going to be first on the scene. They have to seal off um, the crime scene. Obviously, they got to make sure nothing contaminates evidence or anything like that. They also have to document the scene. So they have to find witnesses and interview witnesses and all that. They have to collect physical evidence as well. And then they also have to um, follow a chain of custody, so on, so to speak, as far as that evidence goes. So that means, guys, every changing of hands of evidence that has to be documented. If it is not properly documented, it's probably going to get thrown out. So we've talked about due process of law with the judiciary, with the mock trial stuff. That's part of due process, is they have to have a record of every time that evidence changed hands, where it went, and so on and so forth. If they do not, that could become a problem. So that was a big question, guys. We talked a little bit about in class the O.J. Simpson trial. That was a big point of contention on some of the physical evidence, the DNA evidence from the scene of the crime, where that was called into question because there were some questions as to whether that had been followed properly. So that can be a big, big deal. So that does it for kind of our dip into law enforcement, guys. I'll have more for you later this week, but until I talk to you, have a good one.